we acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of songwriting, chat with some of the most exciting artists in the world, and explore the stories behind their songs. I'm your host, Simon Fink, and thank you for joining us. Our guests this week on the podcast are these New South Wales. The Naarm-based punk four-piece have spent the last decade refusing to stand still, continually expanding on their early basement punk beginnings and reshaping their sound with each release. Across 4 studio albums, they've carved out a reputation as one of Australia's most dynamic and quietly influential punk bands, never content to repeat themselves and always pushing at the edges of what their music can be. Beyond the band itself, these New South Wales have built a whole world around them, from their own cult Comedy Central mockumentary to their hit podcast What a Great Punk, which recently wrapped up an enormous 500-episode run. It's that same restless curiosity that carries through to their latest album, Godspeed, which was released late last year. It's a record that blends Britpop sheen with melodic hardcore urgency, and it feels like a bold new chapter for the band. Earlier this week as well, they also announced a massive Australian tour where they'll be taking the record on the road around the country. On today's episode, we're joined by frontman Jamie Timony and guitarist Todd Andrews to talk all about Godspeed, working with producer Ben Greenberg, who's worked with the likes of Depeche Mode, the band's songwriting process and their early influences, and we discuss the milestone of hitting 500 episodes of What a Great Punk. Now, we want to say a massive thank you to Maya for her help with today's episode and remind everyone that the latest These New South Wales record, Godspeed, is out right now. You can find links in today's show notes on where you can purchase the record, grab tickets to that upcoming tour that we mentioned before, and follow the band across all of their socials. While you are in the show notes, please make sure you subscribe to This Song Is Yours and go and follow us on Instagram and on TikTok. We would love it if you did, and it really does help us out. It keeps you up to date with all of our new episodes, guests, and everything else that we're working on. With us approaching our 500 episode milestone soon, we've got some exciting things in store, so you don't want to miss out. Please make sure you're subscribed to all of our socials. But let's get into it. Here is our conversation with Jamie and Todd from These New South Wales. Please welcome back to This Song Is Yours, Jamie Timony and Todd Andrews from These New South Wales. Gentlemen, hello. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. How is it going?
Shout out to everyone. Shout out to This Song Is Yours. What's up, Simon? Good to see you. Thanks for having us.
Of course, my absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on and giving us some time. Obviously, long-time listener, first-time caller in terms of Jamie having you on, so I appreciate you coming on. Todd, welcome back to the pod. I'm kind of excited that we get to chat. Obviously, there's a new album out from These New South Wales called Godspeed, which I do want to get into. It's kind of behind me in the background with the blur. But before we get any further, I do want to almost acknowledge, like pod to pod in a way, What a Great Punk. Recently hit 500 episodes. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks. Thanks so much. It's a lot, isn't it? What are you up to now? Not that this is a pissing contest. I'm just curious.
When this airs, this will be 485. So within distance. But as you just said, but it's a thing of I can recognize it is a lot of work. How are you guys feeling with that kind of milestone? It's a big thing to kind of do twice a week. I think you were doing.
Yeah. It was a seriously fun project. And we loved it so much. Feeling really nice. It's a great accomplishment to get to the end of it. Really nice, like not just, I don't know, having that free time already is, I think we're both loving that. And, just a slight, see, a bit of a sea change.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely we were both feeling like sad about it too. Like it's something we love doing and was important to a lot of people that listened. So there's that sort of a little bit of, had to like be able with letting it go and like making a few people sad that they don't get to hear it for a while. But
ultimately feeling great.
It was bittersweet, if you will.
Yes, if you will.
I think there's a term exactly made.
I could have said that in way less words. Yeah,
bitter sweet, 2 words.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously clear that there's been a rapport in terms of podcasting, the fact that you were able to kind of help each other articulate those certain feelings of what the podcast meant and things like that. Very quickly, before we move on to the album, I do want to know, only just because we've spoken to a few different music podcasts, was there ever, I think there were some pretty impressive guests along the way. I know you had Adrian Grenier. I think, Jamie, you worked with him on a project. There was Roger from The Cure. Was there ever a guest that kind of got away, that was within arm's reach and then just didn't, for whatever reason, didn't happen?
Oh, that's a good question. I think there was a couple. Recently, Emil and the Sniffers, shout outs. They just slipped away. Like
we had them on 4 times, but trying to get them on one final time.
Yeah, we wanted them on one of the last ones. Yeah.
We got approached recently about doing Wet Leg, and we will have ended the pod when they're in the country. So but that one I would have enjoyed doing. There was a few coming up that would have been cool.
Mm. Dive was supposed to happen at some point.
Yeah.
And then that fell through on the day or the day of or the day before. I was going to do that one by myself, wasn't I, Todd?
Yeah. I was impressed with that.
Yeah, because you were away or something. I thought, I can take this guy on myself.
Well, again, congratulations on 500 episodes. It is an incredible milestone, and one you guys should be very proud of, and a beautiful collection of episodes for people to listen to. But that is not the reason why you're here. We are talking Godspeed, the brand new record from These New South Wales. I am curious, as being the 4th record, following on from the 3rd one, the semi-self-titled TNSW, was there any kind of pressure this time around going into this 4th record? I know that the 3rd one did, I would say, hit quite a bit of success for you guys. There was Air Award noms, there was ARIA Award noms. Congratulations on those. Slightly belated from myself, but congrats on those. Was there any of that kind of playing like above the head when you're going in to create new songs and record this new studio record?
No, not really. But I think there was probably maybe somewhere deep down. I felt like the last record. I think we all felt like that. I know we all felt like this. That we felt like the last record was good, and so just maybe a tiny bit of it, but not really. We just didn't think about it. Again, we just did not think about it whatsoever, and just did it. So no.
Yeah, we don't really. I mean, obviously we have ambition to do as well as we can, but we don't. It's never been about certain levels of achievement or success or growth or anything like that for us. So I think it makes doing shit like writing an album easier because we just want to have fun doing it, basically, as cliched as that sounds.
No, not at all. I think that's totally fair. In terms of growth, so maybe we're not talking popularity or success in terms of those metrics, but is there the discussion of what you guys want to do sonically and creatively in terms of growth when you are going to that new album? I know that this record does kind of, once again, evolve the sound of These New South Wales. There's some more shimmery guitars. There's, I want to say, Britpop influences. I know that there's a bit of a piano style ballad, which I want to talk about a little bit later as well. Does that discussion kind of take place when you're writing and what you guys want to do creatively?
Yeah, we generally, we do sometimes talk at the start of a writing process about high-level ideas like, maybe this record should be a bit more in this direction, or maybe it should be, imagine if we kind of took that as an influence and went in that direction or whatever. But generally we kind of throw that all out the window and then just write. And oftentimes we kind of surprise ourselves, to be honest, with some of the stuff that we write was not necessarily what we were expecting to write or what we might have discussed at the start of the process. But these last 2 albums, we just really haven't policed ourselves at all or tried to sort of just kind of dropped any worries we had or preconceptions or whatever and just tried to go with it as much as we could. And that's how it kind of, that album resulted, really.
In terms of surprises, was there any one that kind of stands out as the most surprising, or I guess the one that caught you off guard the most?
You got any, Jamie?
Yeah, I think Miss Her, to be honest. I feel like that was such a rock and roll sounding song. which we don't normally really do. And but it was just kind of intoxicating sort of guitar part. It's like a bit of an undeniable, like catchy little thing, and we just wanted to keep it going. And it was really fun. This came together very quickly, and then for that reason, we're like, well, that's a good song. And it's not what we'd normally write, but it was a bit surprising.
Yeah, I'd say Godspeed would be the one for me. Was not planning on having such a big Britpop sounding tune at all, but it came out, and once again, just like Jamie said, with Misso, it's just fun and intoxicating to write in the room and put together.
I think even when that song came out as a single, Todd, I think I actually messaged you just saying the guitars on this track are just mind-blowing.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course. When you do come to writing a new record,
anything else?
when it does come to putting together a new record, obviously these New South Wales have never been one to shy away from speaking your own truth, speaking the truth, being honest with kind of things that are close to your heart, causes that are important to you. And this, I guess maybe there's a theme of growth, a theme of evolution with this one as well. I feel like this is maybe the most vulnerable record that this New South Wales has put out. Jamie, I might be referring more to you. I'm not sure in terms of exactly the lyric writing process of the band, but would you say that's a fair call to kind of make, saying it's maybe a little bit more vulnerable than previous entries?
Yeah, I reckon so, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I had the feeling of like sort of nervousness and embarrassment almost, like releasing bits at time, because it did feel a bit like exposing. But it's kind of good. It's kind of good to feel like that. And yeah, again, it wasn't really a conscious effort on my part to be more like that or whatever, but it just seemed to be, where the lyrics were, they were just heading in that direction, And so, yeah, I think it definitely is.
When you bring something like that to the band, and I know that they're obviously all the guys are very close friends of yours, and that you are like I would imagine like a family, that there's not nerves. I don't know what the right word would be, but bringing something like that to the guys. I know that some of the title track addresses, the power of kind of reclaiming your own identity after leaving AA. I know that there's some other stuff on there that's quite vulnerable. Yeah, was it surprising to you that, I guess, the guys' reaction on bringing that, and then again going into the studio and working with Ben on bringing these songs to what I imagine are going to connect with like a different subsection of these New South Wales fans?
Yeah, well, the thing is with the I talk kind of with the guys a lot, just generally down the pub or whenever we're hanging out or whatever. So I feel pretty comfortable and relaxed to share these sorts of like lyrics and subjects and stuff with the guys, and I know that they understand and know where I'm coming from, and have always been very like supportive and staunchly supportive of me, really, to be honest. So it is a very like safe environment to write in, which is awesome. But in terms of definitely Ben entering the studio, it was a semi nerve-wracking experience. Like I've worked with a handful of producers over the years, and it's always a bit, when you don't know them super well, it's always a little bit like, wow, they're entering the band for that period of time, except that you don't know them, So it's like it is a little bit harder to be vulnerable. I actually found it quite challenging, like writing and exploring in front of Ben, if I'm completely honest. I have a lot of respect for him and think he's amazing. But yeah, I definitely didn't feel super like relaxed and comfortable, not through any of his doing whatsoever, just like my own insecurities or whatever. But then you just have to staunch up and do it and just remind yourself that you're being fearful, and just to push through and, keep experimenting and trying things.
100%. The Ben that we're referring to is Ben Greenberg, who's worked with a handful of acts, Depeche Mode probably being like one of the biggest ones. Was there anything particularly that drew you to Ben as the right person for the job for this record?
He's just worked on or with a lot of artists that we really enjoy and are influenced by. and plays in an awesome band, and plays. He's an amazing musician himself. Plays in uniform, and yeah. So we were just throwing around some ideas. We wanted to maybe change things up a bit. Our last record we love and sounded great, and we were really happy with it. But we were just thinking, let's not do everything exactly the same this time. Maybe we'll work with someone else, experiment, try some stuff. And Ben's name was thrown in the ring by Jamie, just basically purely on the fact that he's worked on records that we love. And so, yeah, we just shot him a DM, and he was keen to go.
Yeah, he's just got such a great sense of taste. Like the way he treated this album sonically is just it's quite different to a lot of our other albums. There's a lot of like kind of low end and roomy sort of sounds, and it feels quite like raw and live and awesome.
He's just got a really. We didn't know this about him before we started working with him, but he just, and it makes sense, he knows so much about music, like all different styles of punk, hardcore, but like everything, not even like he's making like Dire Straits references and like Crowded House references in the studio and stuff. And like, I think that he came to it like he saw every song and like really had a vision for how each song would sound like separately, not so much as like an album as a whole, which was a cool way to approach it.
I feel like that kind of has worked in its favour though. There does seem to be lots of different ways that the band sounds, both very much like your usual selves and then, trying something different on some of these songs. Wondering whether you might indulge me a little bit. I know I mentioned before, Nobody Listens. That was a track I found myself just coming back to listen to time and time and again. And maybe that's because it kind of sonically sounded different to other things that were on the record, or maybe it was like lyrically that kind of hooked me in. Wondering whether you guys might talk about how that track was built or kind of how it came about.
Yeah, we went to a holiday house at the Otways, and it backed onto this rainforest. It was really beautiful by the beach, and it had lovely tall ceilings and a fireplace and shit. And we just set up our stuff there and just spent 4 days writing. And we wrote like half the album there, and Nobody Listens was one of the songs that happened during that time. And we were just kind of like really just relaxing and mucking around, to be honest. And I started kind of singing that song, and we just built it into a song. And it was originally a band song, so I had everyone playing, and then we were like, it's a bit like epic rock and roll, maybe, or something. So we were starting to toy with ideas of how we could, present it in a different way. And there was a piano in the studio, so we tried to sort of work something out with that. Yeah, and like obviously Black Sabbath Changes was a ref just in terms of the instrumentation, like strings and piano. It's pretty bold, kind of sound on that, and we're like, that could be really cool. So we tried that, and Todd's guitar. We left a guitar solo in, no other instruments, but a guitar solo, and it's a really really cool part as well.
It's definitely a track that I felt stood out, but I'm really curious to see like how people are going to react, or how they have reacted to it. Sorry, and also it being played live at shows as well, which I imagine is going to happen, or maybe might be in future shows.
Yeah, probably.
It'd be nice to. I think it'll depend. Like if I don't know.
I reckon everyone
imagine it at a big show, for example. Yeah.
It'd be fun just to do that with a backing track and your guitar solo, Todd.
Oh yeah, spotlight on me in that part. Yeah, that'd be good. Get the fans switched on. Grow my hair longer.
Yeah.
Look, I actually wanted to bring up something about the origin of the band today. And Todd, you mentioning with your hair being longer actually might have done this. Now, if we don't want to talk about this, please feel free to shut it down, gentlemen. But I was wanting to talk maybe about the origins of these New South Wales. I think, Todd, when you were previously on a few years ago, we talked about how the band kind of grew, or whether it was the Comedy Central show first and then the band, or the other way around. What I wanted to talk about was wondering when you guys came together from different projects, what was it that you, I guess, landed on when it came to punk music and post-punk as being another outlet of your creativity instead of something that you maybe previously had done prior to that?
Yeah, well, we were playing in bands that were not punk bands, so more like, I guess, mid-2010s indie kind of sounding era. But like, we were kind of sick of it without, we were just so, we weren't sick of it, maybe we were frustrated with like being in a band and taking it seriously. Just felt like, well, to us. And so Luke and I were in a band, Luke, our old drummer, and then Jamie and Will were in a band, and we just decided to start These New South Wales as for fun, and basically as the antithesis of all that other stuff we were doing. And that's why it was a punk band, because that's the most obvious genre to do something like that with. And that's sort of how it started.
We wanted to do something that didn't take ages to make. Like you could just I think we had 2 writing sessions, 2 evening writing sessions, and then we had a full set. We wrote 4 songs on each one, and then just started to book shows. So we didn't give a fuck if the songs sounded even remotely good, just needed enough to play. Mm-hmm. Which was super fun. Yeah,
fun, freeing, exciting, an experiment. It was like a bit of a piss take, a parody on the music industry in general by the just nature of what it was. It was really cool.
Did you find at the time, possibly from those others around you who maybe had, were surprised at the direction that you went in?
No, I don't think so. I think they were excited, because we had a really good group of friends who were all living in very close proximity at the time, and they were all just really excited. They kind of loved. We were rehearsing at our house, and we always had friends around while we were rehearsing and all that kind of shit. So it just felt really fun, I think, and quite natural for the sort of energy in our group at that time, I think.
It definitely, as someone who remembers that kind of first record coming out, it definitely was almost like a shock to the senses, I think. The imagery, especially at that time, which in, what was it? Was it 20? Oh, shit. Apologies if I get this wrong. 2011? The first?
Yeah, 2011 was when we did our first EP, yeah.
Yeah.
It's when we started the band, actually. I think maybe a couple of years. Oh, it probably was when we did that EP. Hey, Genesis.
Yeah, I think at the end of 2011.
Yeah, but the first album actually came out 2017.
Yeah, right. Okay, so a bit of a gap, well, in my mind anyway, in terms of where it landed. But I do remember that first EP and those first music videos kind of coming out, and definitely being very in your face and brash, but in a way that kind of seemed to, as you said, shake it up and definitely catch people's attention. And it seemed like it was something that was fun for yourselves more than anything. It definitely came across from a listener's perspective that you guys were enjoying yourself.
Yeah, that's cool. It's so nice when you don't put any pressure on yourself, and we were all just pleasantly surprised we actually liked all the songs, really, and which was a nice pleasant surprise, and the recording process was really free because we just did it all ourselves and mixed it ourselves, and just so there's just no worries really. Nothing to worry about.
No expectations for anyone to come to a show, for anyone to watch a song and stay watching it. I think it was just no worries was the word. I'll repeat that.
And that's how everyone should start bands, I think. It's basically the model. So many people say that the best bands are the ones that the best projects for creativity are the ones that you are just your experimental side project or whatever, It's it's so true because you just give yourself license to do whatever, and and you just find a lot of freedom in that.
100%. We literally did an interview maybe about an hour ago or so where a similar thing was discussed in terms of when you sit down to actively try and achieve something sometimes musically that it's like pushing a rock up a hill, whereas if there's no expectations, if you're just going with what actually kind of organically happens, well, that's when you get to the actual good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, even saw a Noel Gallagher quote about that recently. The biggest Oasis songs, like the ones that are just the biggest songs ever, just, are the ones that fell from the sky, not the ones that he sat down to write.
Yeah.
Did either of you catch the Gallagher brothers while they were in Australia recently?
I went twice. Had a great time. Best shows I've ever been to in my life, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Did you go?
Did not. Unfortunately. Jamie?
Not a fan?
No, love them. Full disclosure to people listening, and as we discussed at the start of the call,
Sorry.
No. That's all good. I don't mind sharing. My wife and I recently had a child, and so it was a child or
bad time.
Gallagher brothers, and they weren't sticking around
Tough
for much
decision.
longer. Yeah, exactly. Jamie, what about yourself? Did you manage to catch Oasis?
I didn't. Nah. And I didn't. Yeah, I'm sure it would have been absolutely amazing, but I didn't really. I had no FOMO. I didn't really care.
Which is totally fair. Leads me to asking about further live dates in support of Godspeed. Can we expect, when this episode is airing, it's going to be 2026, can we expect some dates some point this year to be able to catch you guys live again?
Yes. We probably have announced this by then. We are doing an album tour through Australia, more of a regional one this time. So we're going to a lot more places from March through to May. So that's cool. And then there will be other stuff which may or may not be announced yet. But we'll basically be playing as many places as possible, 2026.
It's going to be busy
in Australia and overseas.
That's very exciting to hear. Exciting to hear that there are some regional dates as well. Do you find that the regional crowds go off just as much as those suburban and inner city crowds?
Definitely, yeah. They're often the funnest. Like shout out to Wollongong. That's one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Shout out. Oh, and shout out to Gold Coast. Gold Coast
has been going on. We played in Canberra on the last tour.
Yes,
and
which was
there was
sick.
a great crew of young
regional
people, like a great scene there. It was awesome.
That is very exciting to hear. We will make sure, as long as they are announced, as said, we'll promote them across the podcast socials and share them so that people can buy tickets.
You've got the scoop.
Thanks, Simon.
Look, I was going to try and get a scoop one way today, as said, and I'm glad that we got one for the tour. Jamie and Todd, we usually wrap things up asking, I guess, what they're currently listening to. Maybe I'll do this alphabetically. Jamie, is there anything that is currently on high rotation for yourself?
On high rotation, I am going to have to say no. There's not. I've been having a little music cleanse. I haven't really been listening to music.
Totally fair. Any podcast, book, maybe something else that's creatively scratching an itch?
I'm reading a book at the moment called The Sober Truth by Lance Dodds, which is a sick book. It's basically a takedown of AA and the recovery industry at large, and but a scientific takedown, and it's a great book. So that's what I'm reading, and I'm loving it.
That's nice. Todd, what about yourself? Anything you recommend?
Yeah, I just went to my recently played, and there's a bit of they're gutting a body of water, shoegaze band, which are really cool, and also listened to the latest Deftones record today. So that's been on repeat a bit recently.
Perfect. Well, fantastic recommendations from both of you. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you for coming to chat about Godspeed, the brand new New South Wales record. It is out now. We'll make sure there are links for people to buy it. Jamie, Todd, thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. I want to shout out an artist quickly.
Hit me.
Because I haven't been listening to much music, but one that's taken me recently is Johnny Chops. You heard of him?
No.
I have heard Johnny Chops.
Yeah, Western Sydney rapper. One of his lines is, "I didn't produce this song. I produced it. I didn't produce this beat. I produced this song, cunt." I remember back in the day sitting around just smoking a bong, cunt.
Oh,
that's pretty good.
Yeah,
he's really good.
Cool. Yeah.
He's going to be huge. He's going to be a big star. Nina Geraci even said so at the Arias.
There you go.
There we are.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for having us, Simon.